Okay, Jeff fell. And can you set up the camera to film me? Here, I'll film you. Hold on. We're trying to make our music video. Let me get a scene here for you. Let's try this camera. What's that? I don't have enough. All right. Welcome to Thursday night, boys and girls. We're working on our music video here. Don't mind us. If you'd like to tune in and watch us to make our music video, here you go. We're just having fun. We're living our best life. Mikey's living his best life as Bongholio. And do you have headphones on? Oh, jeez.
Can't use this glue.
Oh, my God.
It's so bad.
Oh, my God. The glue's bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of things to talk about tonight.
I'll let it sit and dry.
Okay. Well, all right. We can use the Trump vehicle with Trump truck with one flag. All right. So as Bongholio gets ready, see, I want to get a couple of shots of Bongholio there. You're gonna have to get those for me. He's putting on his headphones. I can't believe somebody crawled inside you yesterday, the other day.
Putting on my ears.
Machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly this, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises all the time. Don't cross the line, but you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
I can't hear you. What?
You want to sit down and I'll do the filming?
Okay.
So you can get a shot of,
Oh yeah, I gotta put
you
the,
sitting.
Let me put my mask on. Hold on, let me put a camera angle up. Hold on. Wow, that's super loud. Oh my god. Why does that sound like that? It's terrible. Is my mask over here?
It's on your seat. It's on your seat. The wheelchair seat or the chair.
Sounds really bad.
Staticky?
Yeah, let's kill that. That's terrible. What is that all about?
I don't know, but yeah, I would got the mask, but I have the wire to the. It's hard to.
Yeah, I know you're tethered.
It's not easy just to take the headphones off.
So say hi, Mikey.
Hey, yeah. What up?
You're here hosting while I'm not there. You got to host the show.
Yeah,
I'm
good
not
evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thursday, podcast day. So we're doing music video shots here.
there. We got a couple of, well,
A couple of shots we need to do.
Chris Goldstein's calling in. So before he calls in, I want to get a couple of our shots that we need. Let me change the, all right, let's put this on. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
All right. I wouldn't even worry about that shot. I
Yeah,
would.
all
Yeah, I don't think we're going to use that, the bathroom. It doesn't fit.
Okay.
But just come through this, come through, get the bong, and then get me. Try to get the bong and then me. You know what I mean? Yeah, get that, and then, yeah. You may have to go under the wires though, because you want that low shot.
I don't think I have the length.
Oh, you don't have the length? Oh wow. That's it.
I mean, you know what I really need to do is I need to come out like this. I think
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
start like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, stay low. The lower you stay, the better. And yeah, that's great. And then try to get the bong in the ambulance, and then just get a shot of me. And you can make a right. Oh, should I just crouch down? Maybe I should crouch down. Let me make this bigger for you so you can see it too. Sorry, I'm not making it easy for you. All right, let's try it again.
You know what? It's hard to it's hard to do it.
He's hold on. Let me switch the cameras again. You got to see what my I'm look at what I'm making Mikey do. He's trying to film me, and he's oh, and I'm gonna be green screened out, except for that. Is that cool for the music video?
It's cool. It's cool. It's your head. It's just floating.
It's a floating El Rampador head.
You know, you're lost in the weed haze.
Oh man.
I mean,
all right.
What else can you do? It's either that or put another shirt on. If you have one.
No, well, tomorrow, next week. All right, so this is what Bong Holio's doing, and I'm gonna try. Oh man! All right, so
I'm also hitting the top of the bong on that part of the wall there.
Oh, you're right. Oh my God!
Very difficult.
All right, so here you go. Get your shot. Yeah, come in on the Trumper vehicle. Go over the bong. Get me and try to make a right down the street if you can. Yeah, I'm asking a lot. I know I'm asking a lot. Oh, I'll have to. Yeah, you have to get my head in there somehow, and then make a right. Make a right and go down. Oh, you got the mayor. That's great. That's good. That's fine. That's perfect. Let's try it again. Let's do it one more time. That's great. That might be a take and a cut right there. Cut, take, whatever they call it. That was good. Oh, can we straighten the sign out?
Yeah, I have to take this off to do this. I do.
wait, stop. Don't wait. Don't take off yet. Wait. Damn it. Hold on. I'm not ready for you to take it off. Shit. Wait, Bongholio, wait. Okay, take it off now. All right, look, he's hitting the ceiling. There's a problem. There's a part of the ceiling that he's hitting, like the beams. So he's going to take Bongholio off. Oh, I should film this on the other camera. This is too funny.
I'm actually not doing a great job here. Okay, now. All right, let me do it now.
All right. Oh shit! I think the fucking feet fell off. Damn it! And signs up. We're gonna talk about cursing later because I curse too much, and I curse, and I don't like it.
Oh,
Is that really the case though, or you think you're not?
I don't know.
You're
I
taught.
can't control it.
You've been taught that it's not right.
I can't control
to
it.
Control it. You've been taught to control an impulse word.
And when I get out of my car and I'm like, people looking at me like, oh, look at this idiot. Oh, no, I'm in pain. I'm sorry. When I get up, I'm in pain. Oh, that's great. There's actually weed on Bongholio. Oh, we have to turn Bongholio around. Nope, fail. Cut!
oh yeah.
Cut! Get the set people out here! Turn Bongholio around! What's that? What's on the ground there? She fell over. Don't get her in the shot if she's over. Yeah. Just take her out of the shot. There you go. Nice and oh, look at that. You got Herbies. I don't know if you want that other empty mic in there though.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think
Just get Herbies and then try to cut that mic out.
well, I should just move it. I think because I think don't I want to go down there a little bit?
No, because you're gonna see the. Well, yeah. Take a look at what you got.
Because you don't want to see the green screen part of it.
Yeah, take a
that
look.
why?
Take a look. See what you got. Because I mean, we could clean it up. Let's see how it looks. So if we set up the, I guess we could. I mean, I like having the mic there, but it's if there's a person there, need somebody there.
It doesn't. It's not bad if the mic's there. It doesn't imply
Like,
that that's a spot.
I just think you should get Herbies in there. Just get Herbies and then make a right. Like go straight. Like take the camera, go straight, and don't really go left too much. You got Herbies in there, so just make a right. Get me in there. Get me, and then make the right turn. And that was great before. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, see that's great. That looks really trippy too. All right, can we do it one more time, just like that, same way, one more time. I think we got it. That's the exact shot we need. And I'm gonna look at you this time. Because it's better if I'm looking at the camera talking.
I want to get Jeff in it too.
Yeah.
Without getting
The wire. Yeah, the wire. You might be able to do it. Can
Look,
you?
your shirt's showing up now.
Oh. I like that. That was meant to be. That was meant to happen. I'm glad that happened the way it did because now you can see my shirt. Yes. 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 That's the shot right there. Beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Yes. All right, good. We can start the show now. So every show we start, we're going to start like that so we can get our shots for our music video we're trying to work on that I just screwed up 5 hours of work.
Yeah, explain to everybody what you mean by that.
No.
True.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Just say we lost 5 hours of work.
But it's all right because it wasn't a waste of 5 hours.
wasn't.
That's all.
We have more stuff that we missed, obviously.
We're being a little bit of a perfectionist with this one. You can't blame us.
Hey,
The song's a hot jam. You know.
you know what? We get the best set ever. We have the best podcast set.
Look how good that looks.
Look at this is nuts. It looks insane.
It looks incredible.
It looks insane.
Absolutely incredible.
Man, this is the best podcast.
Absolutely.
We should, yeah. Take this on the road. We did already.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to do it with the green screen too.
We need the green screen,
know?
because look at that. You got to have the pot field behind you.
Yeah, because it would be incredible having at a certain event where it would be appropriate, having a bunch of people cycle in, like cycle in the studio essentially. If you had the green screen, make it look like it's this exact same picture, you know?
Can you push your building up? See how your building is a little off there? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Look at that. Nice. What a fun set. I feel like I'm in the fantasy world here.
It's right there. Like, you're very fantasy because now you're all
like
you're just floating.
Super cool.
But it's cool because you also see the wheelchair on your shirt.
So
pretty neat.
We got Chris Goldstein calling in. He's going to be pardoned by Joe Biden, apparently, for smoking a joint at the Liberty Bell. Remember that? He's getting pardoned for that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Who was he with? Did other people get arrested
Poe.
too?
Poe.
Wasn't Adam Kokesh with them?
Kokesh.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stoners.
Yeah.
We're going to have Bong Holi was at Canada 1. Had a great time.
Very fun. Yeah, very fun.
We have to talk about Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Crawled inside you.
Yeah. Yeah, I made that vibe incredible because it was, it was business. So
we have there was a social media talk about shadow banning, which is relevant to us. We'll talk about that. Hugh Giordano is going to call in. We got Honeybee. We want to talk about my cursing and what the hell is this? J high off a Kakabak. I don't know.
interesting.
So there you go. Maybe Chris is on the line. Let's see.
Yo.
I don't know if he's on yet. Let's see. I could check. Okay, no. We'll see when he jumps on over here. We'll see.
I just got a notification.
What's that say?
Dude, look.
Oh my God.
I love that you just went Mo. I just love that. Yeah.
Well, I just got it must be the time because I got a message from that same person.
Oh.
And saying, hi, how are you? How's your podcast? I said, great. How you feeling? He says, better. Thank you for asking. I said, okay, cool. Okay.
Moving on.
So I just don't know what to do about that. I don't. Should I entertain that?
I know what I'm doing.
There's some people I will never entertain that thought. Yeah,
I'm too. Honestly, I don't even care how it sounds. I'm too grown up for that. And I love being like immature and like whatever, but I'm too grown up for that.
Are we?
I gotta find an area where I can
we?
say that, Lefty. I am aching in this world to be able to say that and have it make logistic sense.
It doesn't work.
I know.
Not after the weekend we had when the
No.
girl Mo crawled inside you.
Mo, shout out to Mo.
Shout out to Mo, who
Woo, 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 woo.
really kept that vibe going all night at the party.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Mo is incredible. She hopped inside the bong. It was like, we were a whole vibe, a whole bong. She was hanging out the front of it, hanging forward with like a 90-degree angle happening. I had to lean backwards to balance her. It was incredibly dangerous for a second, and then it was incredibly successful and funny. And fun.
Chris is here. Hold on. We put on the echo cancellation. There we go. Echo cancellation, and we'll add Chris. There's Chris. Hey,
There he is.
what's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up?
Echo cancellation, huh? No reverb for me tonight.
I think you're muted.
I'm muted? Oh, hold on. How do I do that?
You are muted.
No, I'm not muted. I am not muted, sir.
Yeah, I don't have anything here
No,
for you.
I'm not muted.
Is his volume up on the
Oh, I'm
board?
sorry. You know what? Thank you, Mikey.
Yeah.
Just messing with me, huh? Make me push all the buttons. I'm definitely not muted. I'm definitely on there.
God. I'm such the worst sound guy in the world.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Engineer?
I'm the worst sound guy in the world. I'm stoned too.
Yeah, you're just high.
I spent 11 years in public radio. I met worse sound guys than you, trust me.
That says a lot.
I remember. Do you remember when we went into the studio and I trained you how to do the TV studio at Princeton? with all the remote cameras and everything like that. I remember how blown away you were. You were like, "Wow, man! Like I could sit here and run a whole TV studio." It was so cool.
It's a cute little studio they have down there in Princeton.
I love that place. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's a great resource. It really is.
Does anyone still use it down there for like the
Yes, of course, people.
No,
There
I
are
mean,
plenty
no,
of
I mean, like
yes.
Ken, the CMMNJ used to do it.
Oh, I don't know. I think Nick
does
Mellis
something,
was
right?
doing it for a while. It was a good project. I wish you guys still did it. Honestly, you guys should go back in there and do it again. It was solid. It's a solid project.
I think we'll do it here in this set. We have a better set now. Look at this set. Come on.
I know, but maybe I mean, you guys look like you're living in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Like that's what it looks like. It looks like the stoner version of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Like I expect Daniel to come out. You know, you guys are gonna do like the little streetcar, everything like that.
Yeah, this is. He passes me joints like this. Can you pass me a joint, Mikey? Hold on.
You guys need more Legos. You know, I'm a Lego collector. That looks like you know, a lot of Lego people have like basements like what you guys are in. Not me.
A joint. I could pass you.
Can you put some
something
here.
else?
All right, I'm gonna pass it up to each other. This is fun.
Want me to pass you the dipper and pass?
Pass me some dabs. I have a dipper. Just pass me the dabs in the Trump truck.
Okay.
Your street view is pretty funny.
Watch this. This is fun.
This looks like wow. You're a Jersey City Council person right there.
There you go.
That was a terrible joke I just made.
Well, the mayor is right there. The mayor is on the corner.
That's the Bayonne mayor. That's Jimmy Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, you guys are good. I think that you're like Doc Brown in Back to the Future. You're building the town, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy Davis showed up one day. We were doing our wheelchair crosswalk video. Jimmy Davis just happened to walk up on that corner.
Yeah, we happened to be filming.
And he's in the Bongholio suit. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was dressed up as Bongholio, and all of a sudden, there's Mayor Jimmy Davis of Bayonne.
Bizarre.
So I got a nice
Well,
picture of him.
That's good. I mean, you want to see the mayor of your community out and about, and you know, encountering the bongs of any town. So
Yeah.
He's in our music video now.
Uh-huh.
So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, he's definitely in the music video. and the music video highlights Bayonne, so it's appropriate.
It's all about Bayonne and South Amboy and their awful wheelchair access.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, man. I've learned a lot. Like, I don't have a wheelchair. I have crutches, man. And holy cow, I'm still on crutches. So it's like I've really learned. You know, when you guys talk about the access issues, holy cow, have I experienced that. Like, it is really difficult out there in the world if you aren't just like have two legs. Like having my broken leg, I look at people just like walking around when I'm sitting in the car. Jim Miller said this to me. He was like, yeah, man, when both my ankles, my legs were broken, Kathy would take me out and I'd be like sitting and looking in the parking lot at people walk around, and like walking is a miracle. And I feel the same way, man. Whenever I see anybody just like walking around, just like walking to their car, walking up and down the street, I feel like, wow, like walking is so amazing. Like it's such a cool like thing. The whole world is made for it. And when you can't do it, you are super screwed. And the other thing about is I still can't, and I actually was kind of awesome. I was at Weedstock in Delaware. And even though we got kind of like rained on during Hurricane Ian, we had golf carts for the organizers. So it was like I was cruising around in a golf cart. But that's the most driving I've done since July, which is kind of crazy. And if you live in New Jersey and you can't drive, that is like a punishment like there is no other, let me tell you.
Especially down south.
I think it's all of New Jersey. I think all of New Jersey, it's like we live in a state that almost requires a car. It's like you really, it's really difficult to get by in this state without a car. Our public transportation system sucks, and as far as accessibility goes, good luck.
Yeah,
I
we're in
have to plug
Bayonne.
my phone in. I have to
Yeah, what's
hobble
up?
over to my thing.
Yeah, your phone's making some weird noises there. I'm not sure what it is.
All right, hold on.
Yeah,
It's making noises because it has no juice. Hold on.
It's like a static
No,
spray.
it's like a static, and it's like a. It's weird.
So yeah,
Might be your headphones. That's better now. When you
but he's not talking.
Is that any better? Yeah.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah. Better?
No,
Maybe.
Not
I don't
better.
think so.
No,
It's worse.
Okay.
Worse.
Whoa. What is that?
You want to try redialing? You might want to try redialing in because
The feed could be.
I think you got a bad line. It sounds. Yeah. Yeah. Let's try that.
Yeah.
That was. It didn't. It was going. It went bad after a while. It was good to start though.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Chris is going to be pardoned, I believe, by Joe Biden. So that's interesting. I wonder if we'll get a picture.
Yeah. Yeah. How's that? So when's that supposed to be
Yeah.
like a thing?
Yeah. When does that happen? And how is he affected by this? By the way, is he? I mean, because you can't get public housing with the record. You can't get certain things, loans, student loans. I wonder if that's affected him.
Student loans?
I think student loans you can't get if you have a record. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What is wrong with this country? Come on. Penalize and punishment.
Penalize and punish. Yeah, they don't care about your health. They just want your money. Care about your health.
Well, they care to keep you in bad health.
Yeah, they want you in bad health.
Yeah.
They want you. Yeah, they want you confused,
and they
angry.
Want you to pay up for it.
They want you fighting. They want us all fighting each other.
They want you in nursing homes.
The media uses all the extreme arguments to get everybody to argue.
Yep. They want you to argue over the most trivial things.
And the extremes, the extremes. That's what they push on you. The extremes. Both sides are pushing extremes on you, and it's like,
yeah, well, and then it brings out the extreme in individuals.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. And you'll find those people, and then you get the arguments.
You work with those people.
Oh
you see them on the daily.
Uh-oh. I think Chris is charging his phone.
It was a low battery thing, maybe.
I think maybe. Yeah, he might have to charge his phone up. So yeah, Chris is going to call back. We'll get him back on. I have a lot to talk to him about. I want to know more about Delaware and what's going on down there. Bongholio. I was laughing to myself.
Oh,
for like 2 days.
I know. Random LOLs.
Random, just thinking about.
Just laughing.
Thinking about how you did that. You carried her in the bong. And you didn't fall over.
No, I didn't fall.
You didn't fall over.
Which, if I did, would have been awful. So there was no.
It would have been a mess.
No, yeah, there was no That wasn't an option.
You would have fell into me though. I was there.
I noticed, and I noticed at the moment that she got up there, you kind of, for a moment, lunged forward.
I did. I was ready. I was
just
ready
in case.
Yep, I was ready because that would have been a bad fall.
Yeah, there was hands around. I noticed that, which was good. I was responsible. Everybody was responsible. After partiers.
After partiers, yeah. Mike's future wife crawled in Bongholio.
Yeah, she hopped inside the bong and she got like in the top and was standing on my shoulders, and I was holding her arms, so she was hanging at the front. Like, what did that look like?
An acrobat act. It looked like an act.
It looked
a circus act.
It was very acrobatic.
Circus act.
Yeah.
Total. You should probably work that
we
should work that into a council meeting sometime.
Yeah, because we announced. I know, right? That'd be great. We announced that we had gotten married. She hopped in the top. We announced to everybody that we had gotten married, and then I kind of just walked her around so she could just enjoy the moment of the marriage celebration.
We got to bring her to South Orange council meeting and do that, and have her crawl inside this council meeting. Think they'll stop us?
Any responsible person would try. Literally. It was super dangerous.
All right, we got Chris back. Chris, sorry about that, man. I think you're okay now.
Look, I'm standing. It's amazing without crutches. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much better. You sound, you got deep,
very
booming
clean.
Voice. Yeah.
I'm on my computer this time instead of my phone, which, like my phone has seen much abuse, especially this week. But yeah, good. I'm glad you guys can hear me. It's been kind of a crazy week. I did a bunch of media because of the Biden announcement, and I was trying to track down Don DeZarn today. I was just going to send him a message on Twitter to see if I could get in touch with him and talk to him a little bit more about what's going on. He also would be eligible for federal pardon. Because he was convicted on the possession charge in the exact same trial I was. So it's kind of interesting. I've been trying to find more people who might be eligible. They say and I was kind of shocked by this. There's only like 6,500 people eligible for this federal marijuana pardon, because so few people get a federal possession charge. Most people get something like, trafficking thousands of something for the federal government. So apparently I've never felt like I've been such a part of a rare group actually as this week, which is kind of funny.
Has it affected you in any way, the being on this bad list of bad people?
Well, I mean, I have been invited to speak like in Canada and go up there for conferences and even do some classes and such up there. And I've turned those down. Traveling over the U.S.-Canada border with a federal marijuana charge has proven to be really difficult for a lot of people. And I didn't want to really try and find out. So I've avoided international travel. I was going to try and go to France in the midst of the pandemic. I ended up canceling that trip because of COVID-19. But in order to make sure I was going to have any problems getting into France, I actually was writing ahead and trying to talk back and forth with the French and U.S. Embassies and consulates to make sure I wouldn't have any problems at the border. As far as like real problems go, no. I mean, I was hired as an adjunct instructor at Temple University to teach a marijuana class. So while my record may have come up, it didn't affect my employment there. However, I've applied for other jobs, like other adjunct instructor jobs that I haven't gotten. And, you wonder, is that what it was? Is that what came up? Just like the border to employers, if they see the record, they're not necessarily going to get a context for it. It's just going to say that I have a federal marijuana conviction. And to a lot of people, that's just going to mean that I have a more serious charge than possession, and they're not really going to ask any questions after that. So did it affect anything? I don't know. I mean, honestly, the biggest impact it had for me and for some other people in Philadelphia is that going through the experience as an activist, I got to say, Ken Wolski, Ken came over to a lot of those protests, and a lot of folks I finally got a place to put my laptop down here. So this was like when we were out there. The reason I got my record in the first place is because we were out protesting, and Ken Wolski from CMMNJ. I was on the board then, the board of directors then, and I did the communications work for CMMNJ at the time. And Ken and Jim and so many people involved with CMMNJ came over and supported us in our Philadelphia protest. And a lot of people came out and they smoked weed and they got an initial ticket, which if you got a ticket, you paid $175, but only a few of us were taken to federal court. The overall impact for us was we ended up doing the protest. We committed to it. We were prosecuted. We were convicted. But then that inspired the city of Philadelphia to decriminalize cannabis. So we stopped, in the same year that I was convicted in March of 2014. And by October of 2014, and we're going to celebrate this, it was October 20th, 2014, when Philadelphia implemented marijuana decrim. And we're talking about, Philly was arresting 5,000 people a year for marijuana possession, and 90% of those arrests stopped. Philadelphia was also the first city in the country to have a decrim ordinance, and we were really careful about this. We really kind of went to the mat to make sure that decrim applied to all ages, that juveniles would not get arrested for marijuana possession while adults did not. And that's something we also fought for in New Jersey. I have to point that out. After legalization, the ballot initiative happened, we have one of the most progressive decrim laws in the country, along with legalization here in New Jersey. We decriminalized possession for all ages. We made it very difficult for police to even approach you if you have marijuana, any age. And we also decriminalized dealing less than an ounce. You couldn't be arrested for that first offense either. So, that went pretty far. And it also took into account that in other states like Colorado, early states that legalized marijuana didn't do that. They legalized marijuana for those 21 and over, but those under 18 were arrested more often, and that sucked. So we wanted to make sure that didn't happen in Philadelphia in 2014. We wanted to make sure it didn't happen in New Jersey in 2020, 2021. So that's good. So overall, how did it affect my life? It sucked. I was on probation for 24 months. They also made me pay a $3,000 cash fine, which also I had to raise some of that on GoFundMe, and that super sucked. But I had to pass 28 drug tests too. And like a lot of cannabis consumers who get caught for simple possession, if I would have violated my probation, that's when I might have gotten into more serious trouble, like right away. But yeah, it was crazy. They took me and Don to federal court. I was convicted in federal court over 0.5 gram of cannabis, Lefty. I mean, they literally made a federal trial out of 0.4 grams of cannabis. And that was like, it was during the Obama administration. Like, people have been asking me all week, like, hey, Chris, like, you've been expecting this from the Biden administration. Did you expect this to come out? And I was like, well, it was a campaign promise. We've been expecting it since, like, Inauguration Day. We also expected President Biden to perhaps free some of the prisoners who are actually sitting in jail for nonviolent marijuana crimes. That hasn't happened yet either. But honestly, I've said this, and I'm sincere about this. We were protesting in 2013. I expected the announcement that we got this week, just, the basics. Pardon some offenses, write the letter about scheduling, just the basics that a president could do. I waited the entire Obama administration for that. Seriously. Like, I expected President Obama to do that going out of office. And I really, really think that was the biggest miscalculation of that administration, was not making the announcement that was made last week by President Biden. Because it seems even weirder coming from Biden, who was like, Obama at least was not like the picture of the drug warrior that Biden was during the 1990s. So it would have seemed a lot better. And quite honestly, if the Democratic Party would have really realized and come to the same position that they're on today with cannabis back then, honestly, I think Hillary Clinton would have been in a much better position to win, and we would have seen a much different country for 4 years after that, for sure.
How long do you think it'll take before this happens? Actually,
on this, you mean the pardon itself?
The pardon. Is it immediately? Like, are you pardoned right now? Are you pardoned or
no? That's everybody's been asking me that, and I put calls into a couple lawyers to try and figure this out. So, okay, to be clear, I could have applied for a presidential pardon for the last couple of years. I could have applied 2 years after my last day of probation. So I guess 2018, I could have started to apply for a pardon. And I did not, for several reasons. One, applying for an individual presidential pardon, you're in the mix with everybody else asking for a pardon that year for everything else, not just for marijuana. Thousands of people apply for presidential pardons. So it was on the low end of scale that I would ever get approved. Second of all, the previous administration, if they would have given me a pardon, I might have given it back. There's that. So I didn't apply at all during the previous administration. And from this administration, there was the campaign promise that I would get a pardon. So I didn't apply. When Biden was inaugurated, I thought, hey, everybody like me is going to get a pardon. I did not think it would take almost 3 years into the administration to get done. So it is a political calculation, though. Do I expect it? Okay. So if I applied for an individual presidential pardon, that process could take months and I might not get applied. The difference now is I'm guaranteed to get one. The question is how? Nobody knows. The Department of Justice said that they were going to expedite the president's orders. And I was on Radio Times yesterday with Politico journalist Mona Zhang, and she correctly pointed out there's not like a database of people like me. If I applied for a pardon before, it would go through the President's Office of Pardons and then back to the federal prosecutor that handled my case, in this case in Philadelphia. So do they have a list of every single person like me? I'm not sure that they do. So they're going to have to do what some states have done, which is create a process and open a website and say, we have a pardon process happening, and if you qualify, please apply. And that's what Pennsylvania just did. Maybe you heard this on the news. Governor Wolf and Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who's also in a big U.S. Senate race, a critical U.S. Senate race, I might add, they offered a 1-month pardon process in September. So they said to everybody in Pennsylvania, if you have a marijuana possession charge, we will give you a gubernatorial pardon in the month of September. Just apply. And they did that. So I think that it may be, one lawyer told me I might get something in the mail from the Department of Justice notifying me of my eligibility. Another lawyer told me that I would expect to maybe apply for a special program. So right now, it's still kind of a question. Once it's a done deal, I feel like it's a quid pro quo. Like they announced this before the midterm elections. So I'm hoping that I have my presidential pardon. And it really is. It's like a certificate. I expect to get that by election day. I mean, that's the quid pro quo, right? Isn't that why they announced it right now? If I don't have my pardon by election day, I think that that's the promise, right?
I'm hearing that it was a declaration, not a pardon. Is that what's that mean?
I don't know what that means. Well, and the president made a declaration, but he made a declaration to pardon everybody like me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he didn't pardon anybody. Yeah. Okay, so the pardon happens when you have to apply for it, and I hope it doesn't cost you any money. It's going to cost you time and effort, I'm sure.
It wouldn't have cost me money before. I want to make that clear. I could have a presidential pardon does not cost any money to apply for if you qualify. Again, it's very narrow. You have to have been convicted on federal, and same thing with Governor Wolf. You couldn't have had concurrent charges. So, like, I was convicted literally of just the very narrow charge of marijuana possession, 0.5 grams. That's it. Most people, even on the state level, who get charged with possession also have a concurrent charge like paraphernalia or something like that. And in the case of a pardon process, executive pardons are only for one offense at a time and for the singular offense. So if I had a paraphernalia charge or something like that, I wouldn't qualify. So, like, there were a lot of people who were arrested and more than me went to trial during the Smoke Down Prohibition protests. So, like, N.A. Poe, who you know, he pled guilty during those protests to more serious charges than possession. So he wouldn't qualify for a pardon. Whereas Don DeZarn, who was put on trial with me, we both were convicted of the only thing we were convicted on was possession of marijuana on federal property. And we will, all the lawyers I spoke to say that I am indeed eligible for this pardon.
If Bongholio goes to Sandy Hook, would he get arrested just for being the paraphernalia?
That's interesting. Actually, Bongholio, there isn't a paraphernalia charge on federal land. You remember when Bruce Springsteen got into trouble recently at Sandy Hook?
Yeah, he was taking shots.
So the tickets, those $175 tickets I got for marijuana the first time, that's exactly what Springsteen got. And what was controversial there is that Rangers didn't take him for DUI because he was sitting on his motorcycle taking shots and then like driving away, right? Mm-hmm. So instead, they gave him the $175 ticket that I got, which actually says possession of alcohol or CDS, which is controlled dangerous substance on federal land. So that's what they gave Springsteen. That's what they gave me, because you're not allowed to have alcohol or marijuana on federal land, by the way. And so that's what they charged Springsteen and me with. Bongholio is not a controlled dangerous substance. It is you as a human are not a controlled dangerous substance. It depends on what's in Bongholio. If you take state legal, I will say this, if you take state legal New Jersey cannabis, even if you buy it for $700 an eighth at the nearest dispensary or whatever they're selling it for these days, and walk it onto Sandy Hook, the Rangers can take it away and you can be cited under federal law. That is true.
And they can confiscate the bong, I hear.
I hear
they can, right?
They can. They can absolutely take away paraphernalia. There isn't necessarily an extra paraphernalia charge.
All right. So I think we're going to go to Sandy Hook with Bongholio and try to get arrested there.
I'm not sure. It took a while before Rangers took the action they did against us, but I'm here to warn you that National Park Service Rangers, when we did our smoke down prohibition protests, they didn't arrest us for 4 months. And when they did decide to arrest us, they came out with 300 Rangers and police officers. And
Whoa.
I didn't know that the National Park Service Rangers had riot gear, for
Wow.
like, like you can imagine that there's a riot of bear or deer, maybe like a coyote riot in Yellowstone occasionally,
Wow.
But I'm serious, dude. We declared nothing other than we were going to smoke joints for a half an hour and leave. We never attempted to interfere with the tourism there. We never attempted to like go into the Liberty Bell building or like take over Independence Hall. We stayed on the corner of 5th and outside. We put out press releases. We were going to stand outside on the corner of 5th and Market next to, there's a monument. There's a marble block with the First Amendment printed on it. And it's a free speech zone. So we thought this was like the best place to do it, right? Like the most not messing around with people to do with it. Anyway, when we went out there again, we went out there for 4 or 5 months. On April 20th, 2013, 600 or 700 people showed up and smoked joints there, and there were no arrests and there were no citations. There were not even any Rangers around. I mean, there was nobody even there. It was just us, and it was fine. We cleaned up after ourselves. It was really no problem. But when we came back in May, they rolled up on NA Poe. We showed up with Poe and those guys. I wasn't there for that one. Poe and those guys showed up with joints, and they got rolled on essentially with 300 tactically armed law enforcement, and they tackled them to the ground and violently treated everybody. And then when I showed up again, I mean, I'm a Quaker in a suit with a bullhorn and a joint, and they had National Park Service Rangers with riot gear. That riot gear is green. It matches their uniforms. We pay for that. I just want to point all that out, So, I mean, I want to say, like, when I tell people the story of going to federal court over half a gram of marijuana, I don't want to downplay the fact that we had significant law enforcement action against us, and it was extremely difficult. And it really was, as a Quaker who's done a lot of peaceful protesting. I did Occupy Philadelphia. I've had police and tactically armed law enforcement engaging us in protests a lot, and I've had to deal with that. I've gone to a lot of training about that and de-escalation training and things like that. But it was really intense. And then getting taken to federal court for it was super intense too. My lawyer, Bill Buckman, I mean, to be clear, like if you get taken to trial in federal court, you have to get a lawyer. There is not a lawyer who will talk to you about going to federal court over a criminal charge, even if it's a half a gram of weed, for less than $10,000, man. That's the basic freaking retainer for a lawyer in federal court. So when Bill Buckman waived the $10,000 retainer for me and took on my case, I was overjoyed. But that doesn't happen for everybody either, for God's sakes. And that's the real deal. So it was getting the prosecution, living with the record, going through the probation. It sucked. It stunk. I think some people have asked, would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I do it again? I think that there's a lot of good reasons why we did it. First of all, President Biden pretty much said everything that we said at the smoke down prohibition protests. And that was the coolest thing. We were talking about the racial disparity in arrests. President Biden talked about that. We talked about scheduling. President Biden talked about that. We talked about all those things. So we were right, to do that 10 years ago, to have that be the cornerstone of our protest. Moreover, it really sucked for us individually, but it turned into this amazing decrim policy in Philadelphia. And it stopped 5,000 arrests a year. 8 years later, that's 40,000 people who didn't get arrested for marijuana possession in the city of Philadelphia, juveniles and adults. It's worth it. You know what I mean? How can you say that's not worth it? So, Poe really also, they took him to the federal detention center. He had to sit in a cell with another guy for like 5 days before we could get him out of there. It sucked for all of us. But again, would we do it all again? I don't think any of us. I mean, it was me and Poe and Mike Whiter who really staged those protests together. You know, we were like the Beatles of marijuana reform in Philly at the time. And although the band has since broken up, like I have to say, like all of us look back at those times as some of the best work we've ever done. So, you know, we put out great albums at Abbey Road at that time. So it was good stuff.
Yeah, I think you even went to go get a ticket. Mike wanted to be the first one to get a ticket for smoking.
Yeah, when we decriminalized marijuana, Mike was the first person to get a ticket, the $25 or the $100 ticket rather, in Philly. We arranged for him to smoke a joint in front of City Hall, and a police lieutenant came out, gave him the ticket. Yep, first ticket in Philadelphia. It's pretty amazing.
Congratulations, Mike Whiter.
Well, and honestly, like again, like it's kind of funny, like that changed Philly in a big way. Like the atmosphere in Philadelphia changed a lot after that, for sure. For this issue, for cannabis in general.
I don't have the story in front of me, but there was a woman in a worker in Maine from True Leave that apparently died last week from
was that Maine or was that in a I'm not sure what state it is. Are you talking about the woman who died from dust inhalation?
Yes.
Yeah, True Leave employee died of dust inhalation and making pre-rolls in a pre-roll because of ground dust from the pre-roll room.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
Unfortunately, it highlights how a lot of big corporations treat workers in general. And because the cannabis space is dominated by large multi-state operators who pay their employees the minimum wage possible in each state, most of the safety rules are probably at the minimum level. So, you know, we're talking about the Amazons of cannabis, just like Amazon has a big problem with how it treats its warehouse workers in a lot of ways. And that's why they're unionizing. We're seeing that cannabis work for the big corporations is not necessarily a safe or a great job. Now, unionizing that is supposed to help. I was on a show recently with UFC. I was on Mike Cann's podcast, The Young Jerks in Massachusetts.
He's great.
Yep, I was with Mike, and I was on with Shalene Title, and I was on with UFCW's national union rep, like Hugh Giordano's boss, right? And I kind of asked some questions about, you know, our unions. Is UFCW doing enough? Because they're the only, and I see now that they're a sponsor of the podcast. I'm looking at above my face at the UFCW
there you go.
152. So UFCW is a great thing because there should be unions in cannabis work. But if they're the only union available to cannabis workers, there's not much of a selection. And the states have required these things called labor peace agreements, called LPAs. You and I talked about this a little bit. That takes away the rights of cannabis workers to like protest out front and stage strikes and things like that. And I understand that LPAs are common in labor and everything like that. But I think that this case that you brought up, this True Leave employee who passed away at the workplace, I think that highlights that the unions and UFCW need to be doing a heck of a lot more. Like, this is exactly what unions and safety rules are supposed to prevent. But, and again, it's not just the cannabis space. It's any space that has large corporations who are cutting corners and treating workers this way. But what we've seen in the cannabis space is that large corporations are more egregious here than anywhere else. They cut more corners in cannabis. They treat people worse. They make worse business deals in this space because there's no federal oversight. You know, when we talk about descheduling cannabis, part of the reason is that these corporations, because the states create laws and kind of ignore the Controlled Substances Act, these corporations take that as permission to ignore the rest of federal law, like, you know, antitrust law or worker safety law or labor law. That's the unfortunate reality of today's corporate landscape in cannabis. So unless we start to deal with that a little bit better, I think that there's going to be more workers who suffer, unfortunately, because that's the history of the corporate landscape of labor in America.
It looks like OSHA has just fined True Leave $35,000 and cited them for serious violations, including not providing employees training and information about the hazards of working with ground cannabis and other materials.
You know, I worked in a coffee grinder, a custom coffee grinder in New Mexico for about a year, and they roast their own coffee in this giant old copper coffee roaster. It was a really cool place to work. But I remember one of the employees there, and she didn't like to use the protective gear, the gloves, to handle the coffee beans and the ground coffee. And she ended up giving herself a severe caffeine overdose from absorbing caffeine through her forearms and her wrists from digging into the coffee grounds all day. So, yeah, I mean, you can create rules. You have to create rules, and then people have to follow them. And also people have to have the right equipment. In a previous lifetime, I worked at airports and did things like de-ice airplanes and things like that. So there are a lot of workplaces that do this right. People handle dangerous stuff and handle stuff that doesn't seem dangerous, but that could kill you every day. And they do it safely, and there are procedures, and there's equipment, and there's safety gear, and workers in America don't want to die on the workplace. So show them a procedure on how to do things safely. People will do it. The idea that this woman died because she inhaled so much ground cannabis dust in a pre-roll manufacturing room is a little scary. The early part of this industry, I remember like videos of, because I used to live in New Mexico, the early New Mexico medical marijuana program, they let them start to like make their own hash oil with like propane and stuff in little laboratories. And there's this video that went national from the New Mexico Department of Labor because the guys sought workman's comp afterwards. They kind of blew themselves up in making hash oil in their medical marijuana dispensary, which, you know, they weren't exactly doing everything right. But there really wasn't a procedure for it at the time either. So that's, you know, part of the issue. What are the procedures for people who sit in a room full of ground cannabis and make pre-rolls all day? I would think that we should have something like that, maybe comparable to the tobacco industry. I remember reading stories of like the last place where they hand rolled tobacco in North Carolina, and there were rules for that years ago. So there's got to be something in place. But the idea, if it's, you know, I can imagine the worst. I don't know what the case was here in True Leave. I've read about the case, but I didn't read about the specifics of what this woman experienced. I can tell you that the reality is I've seen in the gray market of California and other places, I've seen rooms full of people making pre-rolls, and I've seen non-regulated employees doing this job. And they're wearing respirators, usually in this rooms full of grinders and the cannabis dust and everything. It's very fine. So there's a perception that it could be dangerous. I want to point out that it wasn't the cannabis. It was probably the amount of dust that was inhaled. It sounds like an unfortunately common workplace injury.
It apparently gave her asthma. She didn't have asthma when she started working there. She got asthma working there, was having difficulties breathing, and apparently she couldn't get a respirator from them. There were none available, although they say they were available.
Well, again, I mean, you know, I can't imagine. I mean, that was terrible. Yes, if she was developing asthma, you know, that was because she was working in an environment that was clogging up her lungs, and that's really, really sad. And obviously, if one worker could die from that, they must have had systemic problems at that facility. Look, all kinds of, I think that's the weird part about this industry. It's really difficult to point to good operators. Okay. Everybody's doing everything super secret. On one hand, they're trying not to let their trade secrets out. You know, they're doing it secretly. They don't want to show anybody because they don't want to give away any trade secrets. On the other hand, the regulations and the law allow them to be secret, whereas other industries have to offer more transparency. And I think that the more secret you make things and the more walls you put up to transparency, the worse workers get treated, the more safety violations are cut, you know, and the more dangerous these places become. And there's no reason for it. Manufacturing marijuana should be a safe job, working in this industry should be safe for the workers. And honestly, cannabis is inherently a safe plant. It's all the processing that can make it very dangerous.
I think it'll evolve. Think of the fire department. Back in the 50s, when firemen used to go into buildings, they would literally take a wet rag and put it over their face and run into a building, a burning building, to put out a fire. And it wasn't until like the 70s till they had these respirators that the firemen started using to go into fires. But yeah, they would just take a rag over their face and run into a building. So I mean,
I'm impressed with that. I'm impressed with that analogy and the technique. But I'm not sure. Like, that's the thing though, man. I hear you, but it's not like this stuff is brand spanking new. Like, workers have been dealing with dust in other workplaces. Workers have been dealing with basic safety in all kinds of workplaces. The problem is that corporate cannabis wants to cut corners, and that's who needs to be responsible. Letting it evolve and all that stuff is great, but if the same corporations are in charge, they're going to cut the same corners on workplace safety again and again as much as they can. This is a good example of big corporations running rings around the state regulators, though, and also ignoring federal law. So, you know, if everybody ignores federal law, that means workplace safety and worker safety could be compromised.
Yeah, that's the main issue right there. I think that's where it adds up.
Well, True Leaf, though, is funny because True Leaf, a lot of people are singing the praises of True Leaf. I talk a lot about price gouging. True Leaf all of a sudden is bringing in major price relief in Pennsylvania. You can get like $100 ounce from True Leaf in Pennsylvania, which is a brand new thing. That's like 3 times less than anybody else in the state previously. So True Leaf's out there, you know, cutting prices. But are they cutting corners to do it? That's the question.
well, it looks that way.
It's also, True Leaf is also Matt Getz's marijuana company. You guys know that, right?
I didn't know that.
No.
Oh my God, please look this up. True Leaf is Florida marijuana company. And Kim Rivers, of course, is the CEO. Her husband was, it's a wonderful story. Look up True Leaf, Matt Getz. The Orlando Sentinel did a number of exposés on this. I think there's like 161 marijuana permits in the state of Florida, and True Leaf has a perfect majority share. They own 81 of those permits in Florida. So they own about half of the Florida medical marijuana permits. Now they've gone MSO. They started buying up dispensaries in Pennsylvania and other states. They didn't originally apply for these permits. They bought up existing operations that got their applications later. And they've been undercutting prices, like I said. At the same time, there are questions about workplace safety. Matt Getz, anybody who doesn't know who Matt Getz is, he's a notorious Republican congressman from Florida. And he was involved in like all kinds of crazy nationally known illegal stuff. But he also helped get True Leaf where they are today. Basically, True Leaf wouldn't exist without the patronage of Matt Getz and his friends and the Republican Party. So True Leaf, for all intents and purposes, True Leaf is a Republican marijuana company, like Acreage and John Boehner. You know what I mean? So these cannabis corporations have flavors of their politics, and True Leaf is a Republican marijuana company. You know, take that as it were. I mean, people like me have speculated for a long time on why like big name politicians like Matt Getz and Roger Stone and John Boehner, why they would want to be in the medical marijuana permit game, why they would want to be in this space. But the Republicans are big into what we know in politics as dark money. And the medical marijuana industry is the perfect laundry machine to launder political money because it's out of federal oversight. So all the billions of dollars in these companies is out of federal oversight. And then they can launder it through whatever medical marijuana company it is and turn it into dark money and spend it on politics. So it's all very fun game. But that's basically what it comes down to. So that's the basics on Matt Getz and True Leaf and why it's a Republican marijuana company.
Interesting. Wow.
You can thank Chris Christie for all this. I mean, we can all thank Chris Christie for this. It is right here in New Jersey. Chris Christie invented the MSO and the limited permit medical marijuana game. Before New Jersey's 2010 Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act, and before Chris Christie came into office and rewrote the entire stinking law in his first couple of years in office, the concept of regulating marijuana like this, nobody had ever even heard of it. He invented limited permits. He invented giving out permits to your political friends. He invented this whole freaking game, and he sold it to other Republican governors. And now it's, it's essentially the dominant structure for corporate cannabis in America. You can thank Chris Christie for it, 100%.
So I don't get. I guess none of the True Leaves are unionized.
I don't know about that. Some
Some of them?
states.
Oh, some states. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think some of them maybe. Some states are requiring. New Jersey, for instance, required that there be a labor peace agreement in place. Same thing in Delaware.
Mhm.
So I think that they require. There were a lot of problems. There was union busting here in New Jersey, and in other states. So they put a quash on that pretty quick.
True Leaves not in New Jersey, are they?
Not yet. No,
Not
True Leaf
yet.
has not bought a dispensary. No, they haven't bought a dispensary in New Jersey yet. I'm sure they will. They bought 3 in Pennsylvania. They bought those Massachusetts, Maine. Yeah, they've been buying up dispensaries all around the country.
Hmm.
No,
Very-
yeah. The problem is, Lefty, is that all the current adult use dispensaries are owned by Truly's biggest competitors, so they won't sell them to them. So there you go.
Hmm.
They're already owned by Columbia Care and Cureleaf and Aurora and all these other wonderful, ginormous corporations. That's the point, though. So, I've been saying this on my interviews all week. When we were protesting for federal legalization, it seemed like way simpler. Deschedule cannabis, flip the switch on federal prohibition. But now that I've seen what happened in New Jersey, now that I've seen what happened in Pennsylvania and what's happened with corporate cannabis in this country, my hope is that federal legalization deals with that we have a structure for breaking up these big corporations. That's what federal legalization should mean. You look like you still have a BlackBerry. When you're on your phone like that, it looks like you have a BlackBerry still. Makes me nostalgic.
Phone ringing.
Yeah, I just thought. Did I lose our signal?
I'm
No.
still here. Hello.
Okay, hold on. Mo's not feeling well. Hold on. I'm not set up for this. Hello, can you hear me? We're on the air. Oh shit. All right, something's wrong with my cat. I guess I don't know. All right.
Everything okay?
I guess Mo's not feeling well. I put a collar on Mo for his flea. He has fleas, and Fufu wasn't acting right yesterday with the collar. We took it off Fufu. Now Mo's not feeling well, so we took the
Mo.
collar off Mo.
Mo's the cutest cat. It's
Yeah.
Lefty's
You
cat.
get a-
No collar.
Does the caller call you? Is that a call from your cat?
Collar.
A
Bluetooth.
caller.
Caller.
Yeah, a caller.
I don't know. It's just poison. They're just putting poison on my cat, so it probably isn't.
Well, that's
good.
what it is. The flea
It's
collar
poison.
has poison.
I'm
on
giving
it,
him poison. So all right, no
They're
more
poisoning the fleas, but it's also poisoning poor Mo.
Yeah, it's poisoning Mo, so we got to take it off.
Mo's
Yeah, you don't
probably
want fleas,
licking
though.
and,
Yeah, I got to just give him a bath.
I mean, you have a beard, so you can't really afford to have your cat get fleas. Yeah, have quick cross.
I'm very hairy.
So, what do you call? I mean, guys, I mean, I don't expect park rangers to mess with you too hard at Sandy Hook unless you reenact the Bruce Springsteen thing and drink shots on a motorcycle. But I want to point out that President Biden's announcement does not affect federal law right now, so they can still cite you or even take you to court, and that would suck.
No, yeah, no, I hear you. But at the end of the day, I'm getting pardoned, bro. You know.
I don't think my bet is that the first couple times that they won't do anything, that they'll probably like take selfies with you. You know what I mean? That's what I think will happen.
Yeah. True.
And honestly, I think somebody asked me this too, and I don't know, but you know, President Biden's announcement must have some impact on federal law enforcement. There was an ACLU attorney who looked up the other federal possession cases, and most of them, I mean, really, like marijuana protesters were the smallest statistic out there. Most of the people who have a federal marijuana possession conviction were caught by Border Patrol. Like 60% of them happen in Arizona, like at the border. So this isn't really necessarily national park rangers. National park rangers are much more worried about like picking up trash and being nice to people. So, but we did find the ones with riot gear. I will point that out. That they absolutely have some park rangers who take steroids and have riot gear. So, and they deploy them against anyone who says they're going to smoke a joint every single month.
Yeah, like when else would have anyone seen that? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it really, those guys, I mean, when I looked, it had been a while since I looked at the video of all those protests. And it's funny because, again, the first ones were so joyful and so nice and peaceful, and everybody's smoking weed and sunny days. And we came back for the next one, and it was like the ones where we were arrested, it's like raining and like everybody looks really bad. But like I call it soggy stoner porn. You know what I mean? That's what we look like out there getting arrested in the rain. But
it was ugly.
we really pushed it a little bit there. But again, we pushed it in all the right ways. We always had a peaceful protest, and I never, you know, I expected them to eventually maybe like symbolically take us to court or something like that. But you know, when they aggressively came at us and when they aggressively took Poe down, I was surprised by that. I did not expect that. And I'm not sure exactly what earned us that kind of a treatment, other than the fact that that's the nature of large groups of law enforcement. When you get 300 cops together and you say, go get those guys.
Yeah,
like,
they're ready.
Dude, that's how they're going to act.
Yeah.
And it was definitely, it was not fun to have it happen. That's for sure.
Well, I'm glad you're getting pardoned soon.
Yeah, we're glad.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
However
that happens.
However you have to go through the hoop you have to jump through for that one. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I won't have to pay any money, so at least there's
you want a one-click pardon. That's what you want. One or two clicks.
Yeah, that's
automatic. Well, so that's the promise for automatic expungement. And I'm not sure any state has really reached that yet. California is doing like batch expungements. But, you know, we haven't done that in New Jersey. That's a big promise here. You know, there was that initial announcement that like 300,000 cases have been cleared and records had been expunged or cleared off. But that was like, if you remember, we had been suspending cases and prosecutors had been suspending cases. Most of those were stuff like that. We still don't have, they have not announced a real vehicle for automatic marijuana record expungements in New Jersey. And there are millions of these records. They're arresting, 40,000 people a year. That adds up pretty darn quick. So they have not announced that yet. We're 2 years into the process. We've got adult use dispensaries open. We're collecting taxes. We've got a lot of talk about the business side. But the real vehicle for automatic expungements, I haven't really seen a full proposal for that yet. Not even a proposal, let alone a law or a website. So that's something that people should start talking more about. We've been focused on home grow and things like that, but I do think that the expungement, making the automatic expungements, like you say, one click or just get it in the mail or something like that, we haven't seen that for New Jersey yet. We got to start talking more about that. That was a big promise, and that was actually part of the law. It's part of the statute.
There's a rally for home grow on the 27th in 2 weeks.
I plan to be there.
Yeah, that should be good.
Cool.
On my crutches, but I'll be there. Maybe I'll bring a golf cart. That'll be awesome.
I'll have to bring a ramp because the State House lawn has no wheelchair accessibility. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, there's that lip that wooden, that cement thing.
Concrete little barrier.
It's a concrete barrier around the whole thing there, and it's we can't.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, I will say crutches are probably a little bit more mobile than a wheelchair, but man, do my shoulders and wrists hurt at the end of every day. Really bad.
yeah, it's a different life when you can't walk around.
Yeah, I'm starting to actually. I mean, I can stand a little bit now. I'm starting to get to the point where I can. I made my first 2 steps without crutches the other day, tentative steps, but yeah, it is a lot different. And man, at Weedstock, man, there is nothing like being on crutches in a field in the middle of a rainstorm. So, because you kind of feel like a little bit of a lightning rod. And you kind of need like golf spikes on them to really make them successful. You know, crutches, by the way, crutches need to be redesigned. I have several redesigns for crutches. The same design of crutches have been around since the Egyptians. These are 4,000-year-old designs, man.
It's not the, yeah. You know what they have? Have you ever seen the thing where people wheel around? They put their leg up on a like scooter kind of seat.
I can't use that. So because I broke my tibia, I basically broke my knee. So I can't put pressure down. I couldn't use one of those scooters. That's why I've been on crutches. But that's the crazy thing.
Getting in the shower, right?
What's that?
Pain in the ass getting in the shower, right?
Oh, it's an adventure. Let me tell you. I've had to, I mean, again, I have chairs around my whole house and my garden and everything so that I can go like from chair to chair. But actually, that's getting a lot better. I had to really learn how to live an adaptive life. It's funny, you guys, like, you know, I take care of my Aunt Mary who has cerebral palsy and every, you know, before this injury, I was her caregiver and my mom's had to take over those duties. But man, have I gained so much appreciation. She walks the walker and man, have I gained so much appreciation for her life by having to use crutches for the last 3 months. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is kind of crazy. I don't know. I appreciate what you guys do. The world is not very accessible. I mean, unless you have 2 legs and can walk perfectly, the world really is not very accessible at all. It sucks.
Just met a lawyer at the Can of One that's going to help us to sue these police departments. Give us a template, and I could sit in court all day and waste. You know, I'll waste a day in court.
Yeah, that's good. That's worth the energy.
So
definitely.
And I'm going to help her. Yeah, we're going to help her too.
Well, I mean, you know, it's funny. I'm always shocked again because this is something when you guys bring up the police departments, and I go to a lot of city buildings, you know, in state buildings, my activism work. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how inaccessible they are. It is kind of unbelievable. Again, unless you have 2 completely functioning legs and you are walking along like completely functional walking, the world is not very accessible.
Yeah, the worst part about South Amboy, where I'm from, is well, that's where I'm living now. I'm not from there. I'm from Ocean County. But the police station has no access, so you wheel up to like 5 steps that go down into a pit, but there's no intercom. You know, there's nothing to hit to be able to, you know, speak to someone inside the building. So you're just stuck out there. So, you know, they've never attempted to even do that. Like no effort has been made, you know. They're thinking, which is the easiest solution, just change the way you think. That they haven't done that, you know. Down the street on the same road, the post office, no access. You walk in there, and it's 3 steps to get up into another door, and then you're in the post office. So both buildings they're both buildings, no access.
Wow,
you know, and they don't really care.
I'm surprised on businesses because the other thing too is like I have to use like the scooter cart at Target to do my shopping. So the first time I did the scooter cart, I was like, man, this is awesome. I was so psyched. I was like, I can finally like do something other than crutch around. And I got on the scooter cart. Dude, there's so much stuff in the aisles and end caps. There's like, you can't go anywhere in the store in the cart. Like you got this awesome little scooter, but there's nowhere to go because the whole store has so many obstacles to you actually getting down the aisle. It was crazy. So that was a real learning experience too. I was just like, even in situations where there's a really, really good attempt made at accessibility, there really isn't the full approach. I've thought, you know, and after I've been doing all this scooter grocery shopping in the last couple of months, I've thought there should just be like one grocery store in each county that's laid out just for scooters. You know what I mean? It should just be an accessible grocery store. I even think that a chain could probably make a lot more money if they started laying out all their stores to be scooter accessible. Wider aisles, clear aisles, not a bunch of like, Cheez-Its in a bin in the middle of everything, blocking everything. It's like kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I think accessibility, I'm shocked that more businesses don't make themselves more accessible. Like it's tough to just like go to the places that I used to go to spend money. And that's kind of weird too. I'm not even talking about small businesses either. I'm talking about like some big box places like Target. So good luck getting around to Target. Good luck getting around the main street of like Morristown, New Jersey, which is where my daughter lives. It's like really tough to get around some of these places and spend a little money and go to the local businesses. I'm shocked. Like if I ever decide to open a real retail location, go into business like that, I'm going to cater to accessible clientele. I'm going to make sure that everything is accessible because there really aren't many options. And I'm sure it would attract a lot of people to come shop. I know I would go. Like I said, if there was an accessible grocery store, like I'd be shopping there like right now. Because I'd rather go there than get stuff delivered. I like to go pick out my stuff off the shelf.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, and Bayonne, we got like one step everywhere. One step. So...
Oh, yo, and let's not even talk. So what do you think about the accessibility of the dispensaries? I mean, have you ever driven by the dispensary in Edgewater Park, which is a former racquetball club?
Have you
It's got like a very
No.
steep ramp.
Oh, it's a steep ramp.
It's got a ramp, but it's a pretty steep, like a ramp is a good thing, but if it's too steep, it's too steep. I don't know if this one's too steep.
I want to see their greenhouse access because apparently none of the greenhouses are accessible.
That's
from what I
weird.
understand.
They don't have to be, do they?
Don't know. I'm sure OSHA or the UFCW might say differently.
That's interesting.
But yeah. I mean, not a field. That's agricultural, and not in a field, but a greenhouse certainly with a concrete floor. Yeah, you should make that accessible, and I don't think they are. There's not enough space.
These businesses are governed only by state law. When they set themselves up, they almost ignore every other federal law. So if there was a federal law that said they had to, they probably ignored it, sadly enough. So what do you guys think about what federal policy should do? Like I've talked to some other people recently. Who did I talk to? A guy up in Vermont Growers Association. They've got this thing called the SHIP Act that would give first mover status to craft producers. So if federal descheduling happened or rescheduling happened, that craft producers could ship over state lines first, as opposed to big corporations. And that's the battle, dude. I mean, federal legalization, everybody's already got they're counting coin on this. They've got their dollar signs in their eyes. Like who gets to ship over state borders first? That's the big question, right?
Ooh.
Right.
Is that what you guys want? I mean, do you guys want like hash oil from Oregon or something like that? Is that what you guys are looking for out of federal legalization?
Yeah, I want some rosin from Maine, oil from Oregon, and some
moon rocks from Colorado.
some moon rocks from Colorado. I think that'd be a nice trifecta there.
So
Yeah.
how do you want to get that? Do you want to get that directly in the mail, or should there be like a craft cannabis store?
I want it the same way that Garden State Dispensary got their seeds when they first opened. The seed fairy, the clone fairy. I want the
Oh,
fairy.
I don't think you want it that way. That could be like a Colombian suitcase, man. I don't know about that.
They just appear.
Prison wallet, dude. All right. We don't want to talk about the prison wallet that brought the seeds into New Jersey, okay? So actually, there was funny. Chris Visco, when she used to work at Terra Vita in Pennsylvania, talked about like moving clones in a salad on an airliner. And putting clones into a box that looked like it was a dinner salad and carrying that onto an airliner to bring the clones into Pennsylvania, which I thought was hilarious.
Right on.
Yeah, but like, okay, so what about the home grow thing? I mean, if you were able to get like cheap ass hash oil from Oregon, would you be as interested in growing your own weed?
Yes. I would enjoy it. I would just enjoy having 6 plants, 12 plants, growing my favorite strain of the month or the year, whatever.
Yeah, I would probably always be growing because
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. It's relaxing for me. I loved sitting around cannabis plants.
There's like a natural like a rewarding feeling
Yeah.
taking care of it.
Do you think that federal legalization should address or ignore home grow?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Deschedule.
think all this stuff should be addressed, and I think all. I mean, obviously, it's all.
Yeah,
been
that's the thing.
important.
Yeah, don't address it. Just deschedule it.
Everything
Don't address it.
everything needs to be.
Don't do nothing. Just deschedule it. And we're
No,
good.
not enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that, because think about it. New Jersey hasn't passed home grow, right?
Right.
But imagine if we descheduled cannabis. Like I said, we're going to have some structure for descheduling, right? When it comes out of the and because I've been asked this a number of times this week, and it's funny when you bring this up, people are like, it dawns on people. You know, alcohol and tobacco were never in the Controlled Substances Act. So when we talk about descheduling cannabis, we just want it right next to them. It's that simple. Like, if alcohol and tobacco were in Schedule 2 or Schedule 3, I might consider rescheduling cannabis, but they've never, ever, ever been in the CSA, not even for a day. So the idea that marijuana should ever stay in the CSA, I don't think is even a question. I think descheduling cannabis is the only answer to the policy question, right? But when that happens, if there's no structure here, if there's no structure to deal with big corporations, if there's no structure to deal with workplace safety, there's no structure to deal with any of those things, I'm not sure it's going to be a successful policy shift.
Yeah, because then all the issues have to be addressed. Every last one of them at that point.
Not really. Okay, I get your point. You know, I don't think it has to, because I think that would take decades, right? Like, let's try and address every single policy point in cannabis legalization, because you don't have to. We have had a 20-year experiment in the States. We've got a 2-year experiment here in New Jersey. We have things that we've refined. We did things better. Like, New Jersey had decrim apply to juveniles instead of arrest 17-year-olds like Colorado did. So federal policy doesn't necessarily have to reinvent every single little piece of the wheel. However, dealing with big corporations, giving people an inherent federal right to home cultivated cannabis, I think that should be in there. I mean, I think that should be in there. A couple of things. I don't think that everything, but a couple of things.
Getting people out of jail would be a big one.
That's dicey. You know, that's funny. That's what everybody's talking about this week. So, okay, let's get them out of jail. How do you get them out of jail? There's 3,000 people in jail for, essentially, that's the estimate. There's 3,000 people in jail right now, federal prison for nonviolent federal cannabis charges. People like Robert Platshorn, who served 28 years for nonviolent marijuana offense of importing thousands of tons of cannabis into the United States in the 70s.
Yeah, I just met Randy Lanier. Yeah.
Oh, really? No kidding. Where'd you meet Randy?
At the Can of One. I interviewed him. It was great. Amazing.
That's cool.
He's such a cool dude. He spent like 27 years in jail and a life sentence. He got a life sentence. And then George Montalrano, he was a Philly guy that got 30 years. He spent time with Randy in one of the prisons.
Yeah.
George Montalrano. I think that's it. He was.
These guys were taken down in these conspiracy cases. And they pled guilty to protect their families and stuff like that. Bobby's clear about that too. You know, he served all that time to protect his wife and his family and everything like
We've
that.
smoked their weed because they brought in hundreds of thousands of pounds of weed. So we have smoked their weed and at some point.
Well, but that's the thing. So letting people like this out, even when these guys talk today, they're controversial. So, like, it's easy for President Biden to let people like me off the hook and give me a pardon because I'm just possession, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it gets more complicated when you get into people who have larger cases of trafficking, which is most federal cases and most people in federal prison. I agree with you. If it's a nonviolent case, if it's for somebody who didn't have, a concurrent charge of murder on their record, for God's sakes, they should be out of jail right now. There's no excuse to have anybody in jail for marijuana trafficking or manufacturing at the federal level today. Not with the discussion that we're having. It has precedent. Look, the country has changed laws before. People have been in prison for laws that have been repealed. But this one has been around perniciously for nearly a century. Federal cannabis prohibition as it exists, since 1970. So this is a policy that is really dug in. If it weren't such a difficult policy to undo, it would already be done. We wouldn't still be talking about it in 2022.
Yeah.
When you put your glasses on, Lefty, you remind me of the scenes in the X-Men where Beast is blue and he puts his glasses on and he's sitting like looking at stuff. You know what I mean?
Someone was saying he looks like a geologist.
Yeah.
A geologist. That's an
Yes.
interesting, like a Lego geologist. I have a Lego geologist around here somewhere.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we got to build some Lego ramps too.
Have you ever been to Sayreville? Sayreville, there's an amber deposit up there right here. You can go dig amber.
An amber deposit? What's that?
It's one of the very few places in the continental United States where you can find amber with insects included in the amber. Yeah, there's amber pits out there. You have to hike in and get them out of this little development near
in
Sayreville.
Sayreville?
Yeah.
Amber?
And
I want to do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah, Sayreville's next to South
That's where,
Amboy.
yeah, he's
I'm
right
like
there.
Like 5
you know where
minutes away.
Colt's Neck is? You know where Colt's Neck is?
Yeah.
The other place, one of the very few places, and I go there probably 2 or 3 times a year. I have tons of fossils from here. You can find tons of shark's teeth, and you go wade around in a creek. It's what is it? But you if you look up fossils in Colt's Neck, you'll find the creek where you go, and there's 2 access points on the road. And it's a very public spot. And if you go in the summertime, there's like kids and stuff down there, like little kids, like collecting fossils. But you go down there and you'll find shark's teeth and all kinds of fossils, like right there in the gravel piles. Easy enough that little kids find them. You'll find handfuls of them in a couple of hours. It's really cool.
Wow. That
People come from all over the United States to collect fossils there because it's in Sayreville as well. Because these are some of the few places in the entire country where you can like go out and collect fossils like this.
I didn't know this.
Super glad I said geologist.
Yeah, because
stoners love fossil collecting. I love going out and collecting.
I have like a future mapped out plan of like an activity. This is cool.
Yeah, there you go.
That's great. Yeah, we're gonna go right by your house. Probably walk there. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll go to White Castle and we'll go hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Sounds good.
Right on.
Well, Chris, man, thanks so much.
Yeah, have a good night. You guys have fun, and always good to chat with you guys.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
I'll see you down there on the 27th for the Homegrow.
Yes,
action.
I have like 100 signs that Joanne Zito made, so I'm bringing them all. Yeah, good stuff.
All right, have a great night.
Thanks, Chris. You too, man. Good night.
All right, catch you later.
Want to thank CMMNJ, sativacross.org. You can donate to us at sativacross.org. Give us some money for ramps and stuff. Canasense, UFCW, Local 152, JacksonStorms.com, Smokin' Monkey, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, and Pure Puff Lifestyle Shop. Cheryl Miller, Sabina Rose, Diane, Gracie, Cindy May, Marie, Jack, Joan, Randy, Polly, Bill, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ, Roger, Jay, Ella, Hattie, Jackie, Anthony, Jake, Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte, Cher, Jaybird, Michael, Marley, Colette, Brandon, Red, and Jeff.
Dude, I work with calling me.
See y'all Saturday at the Jersey City Hispanic Heritage Day.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Chris is gonna be speaking. And we probably have a table. And then we got Lake and Bake coming up in April. We got the Lake and Bake coming up.
That's April 22nd, right? Chris said.
And then we're going to have Thanksgiving. And we're going to have Thanksgiving at the State House. And October 27th, last Thursday of the month, is Homegrow Day in Trenton. So come to the Homegrow rally in Trenton. You might want to take off work for that one.
When is that? It's the last.
Two Thursdays from today. 2 weeks from today.
Cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's what we got. And we'll catch y'all later. They went with songs to the battle. I'll do the first 4. You can do the second 4. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we
We
will
will remember them.